Matt, thanks for joining me today. I'm Mike Smith, Dr. Mike Smith, the action coach for St. Louis area, and I'm interviewing Matt Hanlon today. I'd like to have him introduce himself and his company. We'll go through and ask him a few questions around his business and his journey over the last few years, and we'll go from there on today's Business Spotlight interview. Matt?
Sure. Thank you, Mike. So Select Communications Advisors started that company in 2010. So what Select Communications Advisors does is provide anything that a business needs to get operational. So really, it's anything communications in regards to internet circuits, phone systems, cybersecurity, data centers, backup, that type of thing. So that was started in 2010. COVID kind of took a big hit on our company because we're kind of set up like the insurance agency. We had a book of business, and a lot of our businesses were retail in malls, and so we know
Mhm.
what happened in that arena. I had a lot of large customers that actually just went out of business, and when you lose
All right.
five of some of your biggest customers all at once, it's devastating. Um, so within the past month and a half, I kind of saw a new opportunity open up because of the big boom in apartment build that's been going around in the St. Charles area. So we started a company called All Aboard Tech, which will provide the tech amenities to multifamily, senior living, HOAs, mobile home parks, and campus environment. So what are tech amenities? They're the basically it's really the internet that's brought into these facilities and either TV services or streaming services. We can also provide security cameras, key fob access to, say, the fitness center or any other door that may need a fob for access. So that's really what. So Select Communications, it is in the communications realm. All Aboard Tech, same thing, different company. We're kind of turned the corner to focus strictly on those segments that I spoke about.
Excellent. Those are great services to hear about. What's your website? If you could tell everyone what your website is so they'll have that available.
Select Communications is sca-usa.com. And then All Aboard Tech is allaboardtech.com.
Thank you very much. Well, for our business spotlight series, I like to go through and ask business owners a series of questions. And these are really great questions for other entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs to understand because you've lived the life of starting that up. You've went through a significant change in your business through COVID, and you've prevailed out of that, starting up a new business even. So it's great to have you and your experience on here. So I would
Thank you.
ask you, if you could do it again, you start from square one on your business, what would you do differently? You can backseat quarterback this one because now you know the future.
Yeah,
You know,
I would have not focused so heavily on retail because that's really where I took the hit. I would have branched out into different segments, industry, industrial, oil and gas, so medical. So I would have expanded because we kind of fell into the retail because there was a niche that we were able to provide as far as technology, and we were able to duplicate that, and it was easy to go in and say, well, we've done this over here, and we can do the same for you. So if we could do it over, we would have expanded the different segments that we could, because we could really affect any segment that's out there, because every business needs internet, phones
right?
to function. So that's what we would do for sure.
Excellent. So, what qualities do you look for in employees and team members, and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment? We've gone from everybody being in the same buildings to kind of this virtual world that we're in today. What do you look
Right.
for in employees, and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment?
Yes, see, fortunately or unfortunately for me, it's Select Communications Advisors. I had a partner that worked out for about a year,
Mhm.
and then we parted ways. But really,
Mhm.
where I my focus is on what I call lead agents, and those are
Mhm.
people that are somewhat within the industry that I'm in that can provide leads.
Mhm.
Because early on in my telecom career, because I worked for every provider except
Mhm.
AT&T, we were knocking on
Okay.
doors, going to
Right.
office buildings and walking in and knocking on doors. So what I've, if I want to call them employees, they're really not, but I do uh, supply them the residual commission, whatever,
Right.
however that might. The more they provide in leads, the bigger payout they're going to get. So
Right.
I focused on creating those relationships with IT companies, commercial building brokers, that type of thing, that where people come into contact with business owners and they can
Mhm.
refer us in. So that's really what I focused on to grow the business. And so if you want to talk about employees, they're kind of not really, but they're helping the business grow.
Right, they're helping you collaborate. I call them the kind of the virtual team, whether they work directly for you or not, that you're
Yeah.
compensating somebody for something. So that's a great example. Thank you for doing that. And obviously, leads are critical because you're trying to really maneuver into larger organizations that those relationships are key, right?
Oh, absolutely. 100%,
All right.
because it makes it so much easier to grow quicker than, because nowadays people, they don't respond to emails, they don't respond to calls. You got to find a way to, you got to get creative.
Excellent. Another question I have is, what are some of the misconceptions about running a business and how do you address them?
Well, I mean, misconceptions is, well, number one, that it can't be done, or it's so hard, you're just lucky. I've actually been told that that because some of these big accounts, I was just lucky that I came across that. Well, I mean, it's a combination of a lot of things, but I would say that the fear, there's people will say, you why do that? You're not going to have the insurance and all the other things that come with being employed by a large organization or someone like that. But I would say, I mean, if there were any, it would, or there are, I would say it would be the fear that it can't be done.
Great. That's a great answer to that. So what do you attribute your growth to? When you started out the conversation, you started by, your business, did X, and then of course COVID gives you, a big challenge in front of there. And you talked a little bit about, now you have two companies. Walk us back through that about, your environment, the pre-COVID, the post-COVID, how you've been able to attribute that growth.
Well, early on, it was just the fire. It was the desire, because it's something that if you don't make it happen, because there's nothing's coming in. It's all commission.
Right.
There's nothing you can fall back on.
Right.
So it was go, 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 go. And it was also, like I said, it's being creative,
Hmm.
using past contacts that I've had within the industry and connecting with them and partnering with them. It's
Gotcha.
really to to grow my business. It was all about connections, networking, partnering back up with previous people I've worked with, and creating that network of what I call lead agents, and to facilitate the growth. But it was really just pure desire, because it's 100% commission, and if you don't have a sale, you're not going to get anything. And once that first one comes in, and then you see that small little check, and then that check gets a little bit bigger, and then a little bit bigger, and then a little bit bigger, and you're like, wow, I have control of this. I have total control of how big that check gets. And that was the driving force.
Thank you for that answer. One of the questions I like to ask is I think about the younger generation who is out there today and they're going through college or they're getting ready to get out of college. Looking at your experience over the past X years, what would you tell someone who is just getting ready to start their career, straight out of college or straight out of high school? What advice would you give them that, in starting your business, what would advice would you give them? And, do you start as soon as you get out of school? Do you get some experience? What kind of advice would you give to that 19 to 25-year-old person today, um, about how, about your business and how you would do things?
Well, yeah, unless you have something that's really unique or nichey that you can just this person can just jump in and make a go of it. But if it's something like um, what I'm doing, it's really all about knowledge and just education. With technology, it's now it changes so much faster than it did back when I started in '99. I mean, it changed, but there was like a 10-year gap, 8 to 10 year gap from one technology to another. Now it's just like every other 2 years you got something new, and it's just so hard to keep up. But I would say, focus on something that you love and keep up to date with it. And it's easy to do with the internet and YouTube and things like that. But education and um, finding ways to always keep your network alive and growing, whatever that may be. Actually, I found playing pickleball was an excellent avenue because you've got all walks of life that can play the sport. Anybody can play the sport. And while we're playing, but then you start meeting groups of people and they meet up at certain times. And then they become friends. And then all of a sudden, hey, what do you do? What are you doing? Oh, I do. Really? And I've run into at least 10 people that were helpful with providing some type of lead or another person to talk to them. But pickleball for me has been phenomenal, actually. It
That
was
is
like a
amazing. That's an amazing story. I've been very curious about pickleball, and I know here recently in the St. Louis region, they've opened up chicken and pickles,
oh, that
pickleball and
place is
chicken. Or yeah, have you been
yeah, we
there?
all went out there because they had the week before they opened, they had a whole week where they were just it was practice for the servers and the bartenders, and
Yeah,
we got to go out there and play pickleball, and then we sat down and ordered chicken wings and whatever. They're bringing out little shots of drinks, and all these guys got these shots, and I'm like, "What are you doing? It's like 11:30."
yeah, yeah.
But
Nice
they're all
soft opening
retired,
for them to
most of
do
them.
some practice. Yeah, nice soft opening to do some practice in.
Yeah.
So when you think about your business today, are you in the St. Louis region, or do you do at national, internet? What's the region market that you primarily work in?
Nationally, so most of my customers started here, are headquartered here, and then they have branches or stores throughout the country. So it's anywhere really within the country, especially with all aboard tech. Um, we're focusing on apartment owners, so we can really go all over the country.
How's the reception of apartment owners? I've interviewed several folks in the real estate business or in the property management business, and they talked about the decline in inventory and the reason why there's so many apartment complexes being built. I know if you just drive around, 10 minutes from my house, you'll see 5 different apartment complexes. Does that engagement model work really well now that there's so many more apartments being built? Is that something that you're finding an easier way to get into?
So the new ones you have to get in. You have to get in early. So the ones that have
Mhm.
just been built or just opened up, they
Right.
have a 5 year contract with Brightspeed,
Okay.
um, and facilities are already being built in there. But um, the hard part about the business is finding the owner because they're the decision maker.
All right.
And what we can do is they are able to actually create a net operating income per door. So we're
Oh,
working on a
okay.
618 door project right now, and it's that's a total of 5 complexes.
Oh,
And
wow.
this one is going to make $39 per door. So 618 times 39. That's per month. And on top of that, their residents receive a lower monthly charge on their tech amenities than they would normally go to direct market with, let's say it's Spectrum. We see a Spectrum customer paying $150. Now they're paying 75. So the tenant,
Right.
the owner is increasing the value of their property. And these
Gotcha.
tenants are they're going to tell other people that, hey, internet's included over here, TV's included over here, or it's $75 instead of what we were paying now. And on top of that, the owner is creating a net operating income that he didn't have before. And they're looking for that because we're hearing insurance is going up, all costs are going up, and they're looking for
Mhm.
other avenues to create some type of income. And this is a good way to do it, where right now they're not.
Gotcha. Good. That's a good point to have. And I can see probably your model, what you're saying is when they kind of open harder to get into, but once that contract's coming up, it's easier for you to come in and show some savings to those companies. Is that what I'm assuming?
Well, the hard part is finding that decision maker, and that
Hmm.
decision maker is the owner. So we have to
Right.
find the owners of
Right.
apartment complexes, and
Right.
usually owners know other owners, and
Right.
they don't own just one; they
Right. They
own
own
multiple
multiples. Excellent.
complexes.
Gotcha.
Some of these guys are very wealthy.
That's right. Well, is there any other advice you would like to give those who'll be watching this video in the future on the Business Spotlight YouTube channel? Any other advice you would just like to give now that we have you on here? And then with that, we'll wrap up and let you give a last couple minutes about your company and how to get a hold of you again. All right?
Yeah, no, I think the advice that I would give anyone is, once you find that niche or that thing that you want to do and pursue, it's easy to say, never give up. There's times where people will, and I've become discouraged, but you have to just put that discouragement aside and just keep pressing. Each day you press, and I just kept pressing each day, and all of a sudden, 2 years later, I turn around, I'm like, wow, I've actually created something that's pretty cool, and then you build from there. So it's easy to get discouraged early on, but if you keep pressing and keep pressing on, I'm very have a very strong faith, so I rely on God, and you know um, the whole thing is just keep pressing on,
Great.
and you will
Thank
succeed.
you. Thank you for that advice, Matt. All right, let's give us your company names again and how to get a hold of you, and then we'll wrap up here. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Matt Hanlon, Select Communications Advisors, was started in 2010. Can provide all of your uh, technical needs for any business that may be opening up, or a business that's looking to review their communications. They want to reduce spend somehow. We can go in, take a look, evaluate how you're currently set up, and then provide multiple options, and we can work through those. We do not push any providers. We're really an advocate for the company owner. Um, All Aboard Tech is a company that is specifically designed for multifamily, senior living, HOAs, mobile home parks. And we provide the tech amenities to those properties, creating a net operating income for the owner and reducing the tech cost for the residents. And we're also, the All Aboard came from, we help the tenants onboard their tech amenities. So that's how all that came about. The logo is a train with like apartment buildings behind it. So we assist
Great.
with that process, to where, because a lot of times the apartment owners think, well, I'm going to become the telephone company now. We take all of that away and handle the process for the property owners. So my name is Matt Hanlon. You can reach Select Communications Advisors at sca-usa.com and allaboardtech.com for the property owners. And my number is 314-283-0309. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Matt, for the interview today.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.